everybody, it's Tamara from Prairie Town Girl here on Etc. And if you are following me this week, you know that we are making a folio, and this is our body of our folio that we made on the previous video. And today I'm going to show you how we're going to decorate it using this great paper. This is from Little Birdie Crafts. This is my first design team project for Little Birdie Crafts, so I'm excited. This is the Classic Gentleman pack. It is, I'm using the 12 by 12s to decorate. This is 250 GSM printed acid-free cardstock. And when I first got all my supplies, I did a full flip through of this and the 6x6s and the journaling cards. So I will link above to that video. Yeah, so what's great is that it's a little bit heavier weight paper, but it's really easy to cut. I was really surprised. It cut really nicely. But that little bit of extra weight is going to help us with the body of our folder. So I already started, and I started cutting out my pieces that I'm going to be gluing down. So that'll be the background. And if you are making a gusset and making this a pocket, you don't have to come all the way down, of course. I never like to waste nice paper, so I would just cut it somewhere around here probably. But if you're leaving a flap open like I am, then you want to come all the way down to the bottom of the folio. And then the other thing you'll want to remember is that if you have the flap coming down, you'll want to decorate both sides of your flap. So don't forget about this inside flap. We're going to be gluing all of this together. And then I've got, let's see here, these pieces will go here like this. And what else do I have here? Oh, I've got this piece here. So the front's going to look like that. And I kept a couple to cut out with you so that I can show you the trick on how I'm getting such a nice fit and how I'm getting these curved edges and things like that. First thing, make sure that you have your folio right side up, which sounds really, really obvious, but my first couple cuts, I did not do that, and I had it turned around, and because I have some directional paper here, I cut some things the wrong way. So I was kind of mad at myself, but that's a really great way to learn your lesson. So you guys know how much I really don't enjoy measuring things, so I do a lot of tracing and using templates and that kind of thing. So I'm using the folio as my template. Now, where's my piece here? Here's my piece that I cut for this side, and this is what I'm going to use on the inside. So I'm going to, there's two ways you can do this. Because I've already got this one, I can use that as my template, making sure that I've got wrong sides together, and then I would trace this on the back side of my other paper. Or I can use the folder itself, and I can trace along here, which is what I had to do to get the first one. But to make things easier on myself right now, I am just going to put this on here, and I know I want to get sort of this part of this train in here, so I'm going to put it sort of as close to the edge as I can, and then I'm just going to take my pencil and trace around. Easy peasy. The alternative would be you can glue the paper down onto the folder and then cut it, which I think would be really awkward. Or you can measure it all out, which I just don't have time for. And I know it would just not end up right, knowing me, so this is the easiest and the fastest way to go about it all. There we go. Now that should fit close to perfectly. I know I went a little bit wonky on my cut line over here, but it'll be pretty close. So that'll go there. And then now I just need to cut one more for the inside of this flap. And this one's fairly easy, so I'm going to show you how I did that, just using the file folder. So I have my score line folded up, and I butt my my paper right into that score line like that, and then I'll fold it down, and then that way I'm going to get a nice clean cut along that bottom line there. It should fit pretty perfectly. And again, just double check. I'm just double checking before I cut it. Yeah, because I've got my wrong side to where I want to glue. If I trace it all out and I have my paper like that, I'm going to just end up with another one of these for the outside. So I don't know if any of that makes sense, but it will make sense if you cut it wrong. You'll suddenly understand what I mean. Alright, there we go. And then that'll go like that. So I am going to, before I start gluing anything down, I'm going to get some snail glue, because I think that will be the best glue to use for this. It'll be stronger, and it'll be fast, and it'll be easy to just wet glue on this paper isn't great. It'll work, but it's not the greatest. And I don't want to use, I want to use something stronger than a glue stick. So I am probably going to be a day or so, but for you, I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to start gluing everything in. And if you're going to jump ahead before me, I know you won't, because I'm going to be right back. We are going to start with our outside flaps first, because we're going to do our closure before we do our liner. Just something I always forget to do, but I remembered on this project. So make sure we start with these flaps first. All right, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I did go out and I bought some little snail glue, and I've been putting my panels onto my folio, but I just wanted to do the last couple sections with you. So a little tip I wanted to give you is that when you have the white on the back of your paper, you want to make sure that you're not only inking around the edges, but you ink that a little bit around the white part as well. Because if even a little bit hangs over, like say like that, it's going to be glaring. You're going to see that's just going to pop right out. But if you have a little bit, just a tiny bit hangover, and it's inked, it's not quite so bad. So I'm just going to finish inking this up, and I inked around the edges, the front and the backs of all my panels that I'm gluing down here today, just to give it a little bit more of a vintage feel. And then all I'm going to do is glue that down. There we go. Now I like the snail glue because it gives me the time to position my paper, and I don't have to worry about it drying out really fast. Or and you do get a second shot. If you get it wrong, you can gently pull it up and reposition, and you'll have to re-glue and then reposition. But I like it for when you have a big expanse of paper to put down. So we're getting there. Now remember, I said don't put these inner flaps in yet, not yet, because we are going to do our closure first. And I went over to my die cut machine and I made a bunch of little gear pieces to help with the decorating. And so I'm going to use these. I've got these big brads, and I put a little circle behind them, and then I'm going to put this gear shape behind that, and that will hold my brads in place with some glue, of course. So I'm going to use this guy to make my holes because they're a good size. But first let's figure out where we want the holes to go. And let's see here. Now, I'm going to eyeball it more than I'm going to measure anything, but I want to make sure I have enough space for this gear guy. So it'll be maybe something like that. I think that would be cute. A little off center. I want to make sure that when I open the brad, it's not too close to the edge, so that I would have to cut it off. But this will be perfect. I'll be able to open it and it won't hit anything. So I'm just going to make a little mark here to help me. And let's see. This isn't going to be as big, but that's okay. Let's see if this guy can get through. Yeah, that'll be perfect. Okay. And of course you can just use a regular hole punch or an awl or whatever you have. That is handy. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ink these edges up because just like the other paper, it's got a white backing. And I want to try to make sure that doesn't show through on the edges. That's cute. It looks a little bit like the gears are all rusty. And I think I'll try to ink up these little circles a little bit as well. Right, now for this, I'm going to use a little bit of wet glue. Then we can put our brad in. And you don't want it to go super duper flat right up against. You want to make sure there's just a tiny little bit of space. And actually what I'll do to make sure, so I'm going to use some little baker's twine to act as my closure. And just to make sure I leave enough space, I'll put that in before I open the brad. And just leave a nice little tail on there and tie it underneath. Give it a couple of little tight knots. There we go. And then we can open it on this side. Okay. And then this one, let's see here. Maybe I'll just twist it a little bit. Just get a piece of string under there so that I know that's about how much space I want to leave under there. And then we will open this guy out too. Kind of cute. Okay, and now we can put these inner flaps in, and we can cover that side of the bread. Where are my inner flaps? There we go. So it'll look like that. So I'll just glue those down, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we have our folio base decorated. And you can see I went on the inside of that flap and the inside of that flap. And I didn't show you this yet. I even did the back as well because I realized very quickly that it looked really unfinished if I didn't do the back too. So there's the base. Now we've got couple more steps because I want to add some things on the inside. I think we'll add a little, like a scratch pad and maybe like a little pocket to tuck cards in. And so we're going to do those in the next video, and then we will make some things to put inside of our folio too, and then we'll be all done. So stick with me. Couple more videos and we will have this project complete. So I hope that sparks some creativity for you and you're getting all of your papers together and your folio together, and come back tomorrow and let's see what we do for the inside. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.